52 Traders, episode 44.
The art of charting is to understand where the buyers and where the sellers are. So all I do is I draw lines.
Over the next year, your host Cam Hawkins gets inside the minds of 52 of the world's best traders to find out if he has what it takes to become one of them. Join Cam every week on the 52 Traders podcast or at 52traders.com to learn how to trade like the pros. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not investment, trading, or financial advice of any kind. Trading is very risky and could lose you all of your capital. Any comments about historical performance are not an indication of future results.
Before we kick things off, remember to register for my free webinar where you can watch me turn simple trading strategies like the one you're going to hear on the show today into fully automatic MetaTrader 4 expert advisors all in less than 45 minutes, and you get to keep whatever I create. You can register today at automatemytrading.com or 52traders.com/webinar. What's up, traders? Welcome to another weekly installment of the 52 Traders podcast, and today we're lucky enough to have Mark Carrington on the show. Mark trades spot Forex and FX options, and his aim is to help traders tame their trading psychology. Welcome, Mark. Thanks for joining me here on the 52 Traders podcast this week.
Greetings, Cam.
Oh, thank you very much for coming on. Look, so I've mentioned some of your highlights already, and I know that's only a small part of your story. So now, can you tell the listeners a bit more about you personally and what first attracted you to trading?
Well, I'll give you just a little bit of background then. I've just turned 60. I qualified as a lawyer and as an accountant and have a degree in business as well. I spent 30 years working as a management consultant, and my last job was as a partner in a management consulting firm, which we started in 1994 and in 6 years grew as hard and as fast as our main competitor took 50 years to build. So when we sold out in 99, we'd grown to 85 partners, 750 staff in 16 countries, 16 offices all over the world. And as you can imagine, didn't have a lot of time to manage my portfolio, so I'd outsourced managing my portfolios to someone else, to a global funds manager, with the exception of a technology portfolio. I've got an IT background, so a technology portfolio and my Australian share portfolio, which I managed myself because I wanted to learn about the Australian market. We had just moved to Australia in 2000. And I knew more about technology than my funds manager. And what really got me to trading is that I was quite bothered the way the fund manager was managing my portfolio. The first thing is that I didn't think they managed currencies very well. They mostly run a buy and hold approach with some rebalancing. And I'll give you a classic example in there. I had persuaded them to buy Apple shares. We bought our first Apple shares at $23 a share. The peak holding I had in Apple shares was 2,050 shares. So if we take that to the peak price of $750 a share, that was a substantial amount of the portfolio. When I took that portfolio, I had 200 shares left. So all they could do in managing a portfolio was to sell the shares. So they rebalanced by reducing the holdings. It was a big opportunity lost. And then the third point I was disappointed is that fund managers, they sold out during the market crash, especially in 2000, less so in 2008. And I thought, I reckon I could do a better job. And so I started and got into Forex trading because I wanted to understand Forex better, because I was being exposed strongly to currency risk. And I'll put that in context, and you'll discover as we talk is that I do like numbers, I do like data. That's what comes from being an accountant and a management consultant for that long. Is that when I arrived in Australia in 2000, I brought the money in to pay for my house at 50 cents, so 50 cents against the US dollar. And in 2000, it headed up, so that was in 2000, and at its peak, it was $1.10. Now, all my investments were sitting outside of Australia, so no matter what my portfolio was doing, grow 20% per year, and it lost 20% in Aussie dollar terms. So I wasn't doing very well. So that was my motivation for getting into trading, and to get to the root of the problem was to understand Forex. That was 4 years ago now, and in the last probably a year after that, the other frustration I had with my fund manager is that they invest in two things. They invest in stocks, and they invest in fixed interest securities. And there's a bigger market out there in the whole world of commodities. There's a whole market of interest rates, and they also they weren't using anything like options or any derivatives. So I wanted to learn about do that. So the last 3 years I've studied intensively investing in all sorts of vehicles or all sorts of markets right across the world, and positioning myself for trading when markets are going up and for when markets are going down. So there we find me 4 years on as a Forex trader, 3 years on as an options trader, and that's me as a trader. And I do this full time. I manage all my portfolios, which I've taken over in the last 3 or 4 months.
And what do you do outside of trading these days?
Oh, no, I've not worked for anybody else for 15 years. So I sold my business, stuck the cash in the bank, and have been investing it ever since. I ride my bicycle.
Cool.
I've ridden my bicycle across Australia 7 times since 2002.
Oh, superb. Geez, that must be taxing on the body.
Yes, it is. It's not as taxing as cycling those hills in New Zealand, because I've done both of those. I've done the North Island and the South Island in New Zealand, and those hills are wicked.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you can't avoid the hills over here,
especially on the North Island.
Yeah, exactly.
In the South Island, the roads bend up and down the hills, across the fronts of the hills. In the North Island, you see a road that just goes straight up and over the hill. They don't do bendy roads.
Yep. You're telling me I live on top of a hill, so I know exactly what you mean. If I go for a run, I'm up and down hills all over the shop, and they're not sort of gradients that you would expect a hill to be. They're serious leg pumping stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna understand a bit more about how you got into Forex and how you learnt to trade Forex later on in the show. But for those listening for the first time, we're about to enter the round I like to call the fundamentals, and I'll be asking Mark to tell us stories that will help you understand what makes him a successful trader. So can you give the listeners some insight into your trading style, strategies, timeframes, winning percentages, instruments, those sorts of things? Okay, so that was the first part of the show. Now, to hear the full episode, the best bits, join the family at 52traders.com. They usually go for about 45 minutes to an hour long, and trust me, these shows are great. They give us so much insight. Now, if you want to get there quickly, all you need to do is jump into the show description on your phone, and there's a link taking you directly to 52traders.com, where you can join the family over there and listen to the full episode. Now, in the rest of the show, I cover off what my traders do differently from the rest of us. So what is it that they're doing that we're not doing? What their typical trading day looks like, what they would do if they had a day job now and wanted to trade for a living, their preferred trading strategy, so actually how does it work? What we should be educating ourselves on when we're looking at a price chart, so what indicators we should use, what price levels, what chart patterns, all those sorts of things. Also, we touch on fundamentals as well, so how do we use news to our advantage? Trading psychology, tips, tricks, techniques, we go through those. Exiting trades, managing trades that you've got running. So we talk about their strategies. They give you strategies for exiting and managing trades. Books to read, websites to visit, all the best ones. Something that you should try and master over the next month. The broker and platform they use. And finally, last but not least, they give us a full trading strategy. So something you guys can try out at home on your PC this week in the markets if you wish. Now, to get the full episode, you need to jump onto 52traders.com, join the family. As I said, it usually goes on for 45 minutes to an hour, and there's a link in the show description, so if you're on your phone, just jump on there, tap the link, and it'll take you straight to 52traders.com. Now, if you're thinking about learning to automate any of your trading, hiring a developer, learning to code, that sort of thing, then before you do that, jump onto my other website, automatemytrading.com. So if you're interested in automating some or all of your trading, then jump onto automatemytrading.com and you'll see me over there. For now, to hear the rest of this episode, all you need to do is click on the link in the show description or go to 52traders.com. See you there.